Welcome back to the latest edition of Arise Review. People all over the world rely on Skype to connect and to communicate. So it was a shock this past week to learn that Skype accounts had been hacked. That in itself is cause for alarm, but even more disturbing is that the hackers are connected to the Syria's civil war. They call themselves the Syrian Electronic Army. They also comprise the popular app Snapchat. Well, to get a better understanding, objectives, we're joined by Scott Schober, a cybersecurity specialist. Welcome. Before we get into the specifics of this, I got to tell you, ever since the Edward Snowden NSA debacle, I think people all over the world feel a little naked now. You know, we feel that we have no security. We go on Facebook, Skype, our computers, we go to Target to shop, we're compromised. I mean, for crying out loud, it's scary.
Yeah, there's a perceived privacy we always assumed we had. Now all these revelations, especially after the leaks with Edward Snowden, we realize our private information is not that private anymore. And it's certainly alarming for all of us, especially Americans.
Well, tell us about this situation in Syria and this compromise here.
Well, it's actually very well orchestrated, and they've been doing this for the past 2+ years, actually, this Syrian Electronic Army, as it were. It's really a bunch of young hackers, probably about 8 to 10 computer hackers that are just trying to cause all kinds of problems. And really, they're trying to back the Syrian government in a sense. They're very pro-government. And that's part of the problem there. There's ties, there's not ties. We hear back and forth. But they're really taking an attack at the media sources. If we look back, the New York Times, certainly the larger organizations, the Googles and others.
Well, they've also attacked the New York Times and Twitter, from what I understand.
Exactly. Yeah, they're using the social network feeds, and that really, it covers the world. So if we think about it, we're all on Twitter and Facebook and all these things. That's where they're targeting, and especially this particular attack, which is Skype, which is owned by Microsoft, one of the most powerful companies in the world. They really attack the social feeds of this to get the word out there, basically kind of bad-mouthing Microsoft. And really what's behind that, many people wonder, is that Microsoft was in cahoots, working with the NSA, allowing them to have a backdoor and access to basically all these user accounts. And
so you're saying Microsoft perhaps may be to blame in part for this?
Yeah, they're denying it, of course.
Well, yeah.
And they have to. But in a sense, they probably turned their head a little bit. They've put some enhanced security there so nobody could actually access these accounts, the email accounts, user information, passwords. But at the same time, there's pretty clear evidence that's been revealed that there's been a backdoor to this. So that's very concerning to basically users. Everybody uses Microsoft applications and emails.
So this is basically a battle for the hearts and minds of people through the use of social media. And I guess my question to you is, how effective has it been? Oh,
extremely effective. It's on the headlines everywhere. And think about how many people right away, what do they say? Do I have to change my password? What do I do? Should I not use this software? Should I change my application? All these different things go through our mind as users, just everyday users, and you say at the end of the day, how secure am I? Is my public information or my private information going out there to the public, to strangers, to hackers? A lot of people don't know, and there's still answers to be found.
Okay, so they're coming on and hacking these computers, Skype, so on and so forth. Wouldn't there be some sort of counter battle amongst the computer airwaves with this kind of thing? What's the other side doing?
Absolutely. They're spending billions of dollars, and it's not just Microsoft. All these large organizations, Apple, Google, Yahoo, AOL, they're spending billions of dollars to keep their information secure in their large data centers and their servers, so no user's information is compromised.
Well, I got to ask you a question. How does a user know that the information he or she is receiving is compromised if it's just information that's out there trying to influence you? Because that's what everybody tries to do anyway.
Yeah, it's a good point. They really don't have a good way to know, although there are some cautions. If red flags go up right away, certainly if we receive any email and it tells us to click on it, regardless of the company, be careful. Don't click on it, because most of the time it will redirect you to another URL, another website where they could take your information. So it'll fool you. So be careful. Any attachments in an email, be careful not to click on that. And everybody does it every day.
This is why I like the old rotary phone. You know, go back to my mother and father's days, the phone up to the ear, you know, pen and pencil, that kind of thing. You know, exercising the mind a little bit, Scott.
Think a little bit more, right?
Let me ask you, you mentioned at the beginning when we talked about maybe 8 or 9 people, if I'm correct. Have these people been identified?
No, there's only been about 1 interview so far, but it's been kind of remote and anonymous, so nobody's really been able to put their finger on who these individuals are, but it's pretty certain they're computer savvy. They know how to hack, and there's got to be something behind it, some financing, because it's not easy to do what they're doing.
Like Microsoft.
Yeah, well, Microsoft probably, probably not Microsoft behind it.
Right.
But perhaps the Syrian government, President Assad, or other agencies there that might be promoting, because it's a pro-Syrian government behind the attacks is clear.
Guess what? We've run out of time.
Okay.
But we're going to visit this again.
Absolutely.
Scott Schober, thank
Great.
you so much, sir.
Thank you for having me on.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.